My experience is actually very different from that. I think that my experience of working in healthcare has been that graduating was just the beginning. You're actually faced with years of more exams. So I've done 3 exams since I graduated 5 years ago.
I mean, when you talk about learning and reading, because obviously I know, from a personal perspective that you're a big reader, and you always like learning new things from not just medical but from all kinds of different areas. How does it work with doctors? Because I mean, I know I've seen like the same GP for not anymore, but a few years ago I'd see a GP who must be 60 plus years old, and the guy's clearly never done anything new, any new medical learning since the day he left medical school, like 40 years earlier. And you'll be asking him about a particular kind of treatment or something that you've heard of and you want to ask a doctor for, and he's not got a clue because he's never learnt anything new. I mean, how does that work with doctors? I mean, it's a, again, leading question, because from a work perspective, in my business, I always give my staff grief that how can you get better as an accountant, how can you get better as an underwriter or salesperson or whatever you're doing, unless you're constantly learning, unless you're finding new things, because whilst the key principles may remain the same, there's always going to be new techniques, and things evolve over time. And I guess nowhere is that more important for us, because it's live or die type stuff than medicine. I mean, how does that work?
My experience is actually very different from that. I think that my experience of working in healthcare has been that graduating was just the beginning. You're actually faced with years of more exams. So I've done 3 exams since I graduated 5 years ago that not only force me to keep up the knowledge I learned, but acquire a lot more knowledge, so more specialist training. But also you have to keep a portfolio. So every year I have to present a portfolio to show what I've learned, to show kind of the continued professional development, that I've attended congresses, that I've been on courses, that I've done exams, to be able to pass and progress. So I definitely don't know the experience of that doctor in particular, but I think the kind of generation of doctors I'm in, there's a lot of support around continued learning. And I think as well, doctors like myself that go onto the media probably have an interest in that, because I'm reading topics all the time. I work in cancer, but a lot of the stuff I post on social media might be more general practice based, talking about some aspects of women's health or fertility or blood pressure. They're not necessarily things that I do in my day job, but I've got a personal responsibility to read up on those. So I guess it varies from individual to individual. You can't just put one doctor in the whole bracket of medicine as the standard, because it's the same as like an entrepreneur in the field of business. Everyone's different and has different independent learning, don't they?
No, for sure.